Now, this woman was very unique. What was it about her faith that grabbed the attention of Jesus? What was it in the way that she came to Jesus that Jesus would commend her and say to her, I marvel at your faith? Now, I would say there are 4 traits that I see in this woman and in this encounter that you and I can learn from. And as you look at this incredible encounter that this woman had, the first thing I would say about this woman's faith that impressed Jesus was that the way that she approached Jesus with boldness. Yeah? What impressed Jesus was the way that she approached Jesus with boldness. Now, just to give you a background of the context in which this situation happened or this incident happened, Jesus had just completed one of the greatest miracles in his ministry, which was feeding of the 5,000. And when he had fed the 5,000, something happened. It happens whenever you give food. A crowd gathers. The moment Jesus fed 5,000 people, suddenly all these people decided, Jesus is the answer for my food problems. We just need to follow Jesus and he will feed us. He will feed us morning, lunch, and dinner. Jesus is our free meal tickets. To the point that Jesus looked at them and says, you're following me because of the miracles I did. Because they were not following him for who he was, they were following him for the next meal. And Jesus was kind of trying to get away from people. He was trying to get away from people so he could be with his disciples, so he could further teach them and be in solitude, be in prayer for his next bout of ministry. It was in this kind of a transition that this woman has an encounter with Jesus. What was unique with this encounter was this woman, the Canaanite woman, was not a Jew. She was a Gentile. And if you read the New Testament, you could see that there was prejudice against the Gentiles, especially for the Jews. Because the Jews believed that the good news, the message was for them, not for the Gentiles. So here you have a Gentile woman who ignores all cultural barriers. And what I mean by cultural barriers is, in those days, the Jews would not speak to a woman. One of the prayers that the Jews would make every day in thanking God was, Lord, I thank you that you did not make me as a woman. Harsh prayers. I thank you, Lord, that you did not make me as a dog. Thank you that you made me a man. Was one of the prayers that the Jewish men would pray. And the Jewish men would never entertain an encounter with another woman if it was not their family. More so if it was a Gentile woman. A Gentile woman would not be allowed to speak to a Jewish man directly. And even a Jewish woman would not be able to speak to a Jewish man unless she was related to him. So here you have this audacious woman who breaks all cultural barriers and comes up to Jesus and starts speaking to him. And that's why you could sense or see the frustration with the disciples. Why? The disciples are telling Jesus, get rid of this woman, Lord. She's bothering us. Why is she annoying you? Why is she addressing you? The disciples were insulted that this woman was addressing their master, who was a Jew, Jesus. And yet, this woman was unique. She broke all protocols and comes running to Jesus.